Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to our channel. I'm Yuli.
And I'm Mike.
And in this video, we're going to be sharing with you guys how to find reliable suppliers on AliExpress because as you guys probably know, the suppliers is what is going to make or break how smooth the process is going to be for your customers from purchase to receiving the item. It's going to determine the quality of the item, which is going to, at the end of the day, affect your bottom line. So we are going to show you all of our tips and tricks on how to get the best suppliers.
Yeah, and we just want to emphasize how important this is because this is the one part of your business that you don't control. So you really need to get suppliers that you work well with and that are going to be honest with you and definitely have your back.
Sure. And if you want to make sure you get all of our drop shipping tips and tricks, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you guys know every time that we make a video. So before we start, just to get into what AliExpress drop shipping is, it's basically AliExpress is kind of like an Amazon based out of China.
Yes.
So when you have a drop shipping store, you have items in your store that you then order from AliExpress, and those suppliers ship it directly to your customers.
Yes. Now, a big misconception is that AliExpress suppliers are the manufacturers of these products. They're not. They're just another layer in this chain between customer and manufacturing, much the same as you would be doing as a drop shipper. They are just on the side. They're just in China for the most part or near the production facilities. So that's a big emphasis too, because one of the goals is going to be when you're starting out, especially having as few suppliers as possible. So what's really important about them not being the manufacturers is that if you have a supplier that you're working really well with and they really, they're honest about shipping times and everything and things are working well between you and they don't have another product that you would like and another supplier does, just ask them if they can get it because they can. Most of the time they all have access to the same manufacturers or even people a layer behind them, so they can all get most of the same products. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And having that strong, trustworthy relationship with your supplier is so important. And that's why we really emphasize, having as few suppliers that you're interacting with as possible. But, in the beginning, you really got to test the waters and sort of date around before you settle in and choose the few suppliers that you are going to work with. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys exactly how I navigate this on AliExpress. So the first thing is you want to make sure, first and foremost, that you are finding a supplier that can handle the volume that you want to sell at. So it's great if they have a great quality product, but you want to make sure that if you test a product with your audience and it goes huge, that your supplier can handle this. Now, a lot of times when asking suppliers directly, they can just yes you because they want your business. And so the great thing about AliExpress is that it actually gives you all of that data. Of course, eventually, once you get to a super high volume, you may want to move over and work with a private manufacturer, but let's cross that bridge when you get there, and let me show you how to navigate AliExpress. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. Now, the first thing I do is, let's say I am looking to sell a dog toy. Okay, so here I am in AliExpress looking for dog toys. Now, the first thing I want to look at is I want to sort by orders. So I want to make sure that I am looking at the product that has the most amount of orders, which you can see here. And that's just going to give you a sense of the popularity of the product as well as, of course, the volume. So let's say I choose this toy right here.
What is this toy?
It's some sort of food feeding toy for dogs.
Okay.
And so I'm going to look at a few things here. The first thing I'm going to look at is the positive feedback score of the supplier. So this supplier has a 96.8% feedback score, which I would say is just okay.
Pretty good, not great.
It's not great. I prefer to work with suppliers that have 98 or a 99. So probably this isn't somebody who I would work with, and I would try to then search for this item and look for different suppliers who sell the same item.
And yeah, you can see like the detailed seller ratings there. Those are good things to benchmark, but again, you have to you can't believe everything you see on here. So those are not quite as important as some other tips we'll give you about how to figure these things out.
Mm-hmm. Then the next thing I'm looking at is the score of this item. So this item has a 4.8, which is actually amazing. So you might also see my Thieve app right here, which kind of helps you with that as well, like get the ranking of a product, but you totally don't need this. I like to go for products that have a 4.7 or higher. Below that, they generally tend to have a pretty high return replacement rate.
Yeah.
And then here you can see how many number of orders it has. So here's something that's really important. You guys see the pictures that the supplier gives you, but what I really like to look at is the customer reviews, and I like to look at the pictures that the customers leave, because oftentimes, suppliers use the same pictures, like different manufacturers, different suppliers use the same pictures, but the actual product may look different than the picture. So it's really important to look at the pictures that customers are leaving to make sure that there's congruent between the supplier's picture, okay?
And you can also really see a lot of the packaging that it comes in for different types of products, which can be important too.
Definitely. So this is the first thing. Okay. So now that's okay. I would want to check the transaction history. But AliExpress actually recently took away the transaction history, which basically shows you exactly like when products were sold and how many of them were sold. So I can see, are these orders backdated? Were 12,000 orders placed 3 years ago, or were they placed, within the last year? So what you can do is go into the drop shipping center. Now, if you haven't been to the drop shipping center on AliExpress, all you have to do is Google drop shipping center AliExpress, and it'll take you there. And I'll actually leave the link in the description so you guys can just access the drop shipping center on your own. If you don't have access to it yet, you just have to click like an accept button, and then it'll get you there for free. And what you do is you basically copy and paste the product URL. And this is what the drop shipping center looks like. And all I really care about is the product analysis. And I'll go to the product analysis. I'll input the product URL.
And bam.
And from there, I can see how many units have been sold recently. So I can see here that the supplier can probably handle a decent amount of volume if this is a product that I decide to scale with them in the future. So basically, aside from the supplier having a low score, like they had that 96%, everything else checks out. So let's say they had a 98% score or higher, and everything else was as is. My next step would be to actually message the supplier. So how you can do that is you can go back to the products page, and you can click this contact now button, and you can write them a message. So I'm going to show you guys the exact script that I send to every supplier. So here it is. Hi, I'd like to start drop shipping with you. What is your average order processing time? What is your average delivery time with ePacket? Whoops. And do your items have any logos or branding on them? So of course, it's super important to sell products that don't have any of the AliExpress supplier's logo or branding. I think that's pretty obvious. But one thing that you really, really want to make sure you look out for is how quickly the supplier responds to your message. So for me, if it takes them less than 24 hours, I'm probably not going to work with them. And the reason why is because when you are managing and processing a lot of orders, you really need that quick response rate, to manage tracking issues, to manage refunds, replacements, any quality control issues. Also, you want to work with someone who's quick to respond. Like, for example, if I want to sell a dog toy that my supplier doesn't have and that, I want to ask him to start producing, I want him to reply really quickly about whether or not they can actually, sell that item or not.
Yeah, and just to add on to this, like speed of answering is super important too, just to see how trustworthy they are, because a lot of the times what you're going to see here is that you don't want to just get a new supplier when you're already selling a product at a large scale. It's good to kind of give them just a little bit to practice with in the beginning, kind of like a job interview. Like we'll just have them try to fulfill maybe up to 10 orders and track them for a little bit just to see if they're actually sending them out on time.
Absolutely.
And if so, then you can start trusting them with higher order volume too.
Exactly. Is there anything else that you need to share about AliExpress?
Anything else you need to share about? I mean, there's a million things we can share about AliExpress, but as far as finding sellers, I think this is good too. I think this is pretty much it. Seeing the recent order history is nice. You want to be able to see that there's not, well, a lot of people use this for product research to see if there is a hot product, like for general stores. But if it's, you don't want to see something going from 0 orders, 2 orders, to 1,000, because that's the kind of thing where they might all of a sudden run out of supply, or it's a very saturated product in that regard. So you just want to kind of make sure that it's been at a consistent level for at least like 7 days.
Yeah. And just to give you guys like the lifetime of things, like this is something I wish I knew in the beginning. Like when you're starting out and you're processing, you know, like 10, 20, 50 orders a day, 100 orders a day, it's great to use an app like Oberlo where you can, you know, process your orders every single day. But once you start to scale and have, you know, a few hundred orders a day, that is really, I think, the point where you really want to move and work with a private manufacturer in China so that they can take care of all of your products with one manufacturer. So this is something just to look for in the future. Like AliExpress isn't forever. It's just kind of like a big stepping stone.
Yeah, definitely. And then you can, even if you don't work directly with the manufacturer, you can work with like a fulfillment agency, things like that. Something that's where you can just upload a CSV to place orders, and because it gets very cumbersome to placing orders through AliExpress consistently. So there's ways to just do it outside of AliExpress and have someone there like kind of on the ground for you managing that. But that's definitely when you get to bigger volume. AliExpress is definitely something you're going to use for a long while.
Yeah, so we hope this video has been helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and we will see you in the next video. And if you guys have any requests of what you want us to shoot, post it down below.
Yeah, we're coming out with a bunch of them, so we see what you say, so we're going to try and make a lot of videos for everybody.
All right, sounds good, guys. Bye.
Bye.